Hello YouTube, Sam here from youtube.com/onlifegamer for the New Boston, and in this tutorial we're going to continue working on our game. Now if you remember from the previous tutorial, we added the health monitor at the bottom so that the user can see the current health of their enemy and Popeye, so that they don't just have to rely on the progress bar. They can see a little bit more precise amount. But if you remember, if the health gets down to 0, which would technically mean that Popeye is dead, it will not say that he's dead, because the value of a progress bar can be set to 0 without an error occurring. So what we can do is, whenever the enemy attacks, it's going to try to update the Popeye health. So we'll come down here to update Popeye health, and it's going to set the value to the hero.health. And so what we're going to do is we will type if hero.health equals 0, then what do we want to do? We want to throw a new exception. So if it's equal to 0, we're just going to throw our own exception, because this will not actually create an exception itself. So we're going to throw our own, and this try statement is going to catch that exception, and it's going to set the value to 0 and say that Popeye is lost, so that Popeye cannot still be alive with 0 health. Now you can see here that whenever we set the hero health to 100, we're actually using a number here. So if we ever wanted to go through and change the starting health of the hero, we'd have to go and find every single instance of 100 and change it manually. So what we can do is go into Popeye, and now these things that I'm showing you guys, they may seem like I'm jumping around in the program, but what you got to learn is that you got to think through things that you can make your code better or make it easier for the user to use your program. You just got to think about those things and be able to find them, and hopefully you guys are learning how to do this as we go through these tutorials. So we'll come over here, and we will create a variable. So we'll make it public and shared, because it's going to be the same for all Popeyes, and we don't want to waste memory by creating multiple instances of it. And we'll just call it start health as integer, and we'll set it equal to let's just give Popeye 250 health, because heroes always have more health than their enemies. And then the int health, when the object when Popeye is created, we'll just set int health equal to start health. Okay, so now we have our start health that we created. So we'll come back into form1.vb, and we want to set hero.health to hero.startHealth. So it's going to set it back to the default starting health. Let's see here. Yes. And because we're using a shared variable, what we're going to need to do is type Popeye.startHealth. Because it's shared and it's the same through all Popeye objects, we're just going to use Popeye here instead of our single object. So come down here to update Popeye health. Let's just make sure everything's okay. So now what we can do is we can do that for the enemy. Now because all of these other classes inherit from enemy, we only need to make it once. So we'll come down here, and we'll say public, and I gotta zoom in some. So public shared, and we will do start health as integer, and we'll give our enemies 100 health. And then whenever the constructor is created for our enemy, we can just set the int health equal to start health. So this uses indirection, so that we only need to change one value to change a whole bunch of values in our program. So let me just fix this here. It's not what I wanted. We'll put it up here in the top. Okay, so we'll come back to form1.vb, and whenever we update the enemy health, Let's just make sure everything's okay. Okay, so under button attack, what we want to do is we've got our spinach. So progress bar enemy dot value is going to be equal to 0. Okay, so we need to go to generate enemy. So whenever we generate the enemy, what we want to do is set the progress bar. So we got progress bar enemy dot value equals current enemy dot health. So we can just set that to default health or start health. And because we're using a shared variable, we need to make this enemy dot start health. Let's see here. We need to import the enemy's library so that we can use that. So now that we've imported the enemy's library, we do not need this right here. So we can just go ahead and remove that. So we've got enemy.startHealth, and we'll do that for each one of these. So we'll just type enemy.startHealth and then enemy.startHealth. Okay, so let's see here. Everything seems to be working fine. So let's go ahead and run this. And we can attack. Okay, sorry about that right there. I actually had an error, which was a simple fix. You just need to come over here to your Form 1, select the progress bar under Popeye, and you need to set the maximum to 250, which is the maximum health that Popeye can have. So we'll go ahead and run this. We can attack, and you can see Popeye gets attacked back. We can use spinach, and everything works the way you would think. And if Popeye's health gets to 0, then it will say that he's dead because it throws a new exception. So go ahead, put this code in if you already haven't. You can change stuff around if you want, make it look a little better, add stuff, and then once you've done that, go ahead and move on to the next tutorial.